Hi everyone and welcome to the latest episode of my Journeyman save. I'm still in Qatar and we've finished the season. We have won the league on 45 points after 20 games. Last time I was with you we were pretty much mid-season and we put ourselves into a good position, 8 points clear, and we finished, we finished 9 clear, but it was actually Al Shamal who finished second in the end. The same team that finished in the playoff spot last season managed to do it again. They had a pretty strong end actually. Won 6 of the last 7 games, including a victory against myself. And they were pretty tough opposition at times. Al Shamal, Al Kariantath here, who we beat 3 times out of 4 during the season, just tailed off. So this is the situation. We finished in first place, 20 matches played, 14 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats. As we look at there, 50 goals for, 22 goals against. Home record, you won 9, drew 1, which was a 0-0 actually against the team that finished second bottom. So we really dominated at home. That was a big difference. We actually had the best away record on the road as well, but that was where some of our poorer displays came. In terms of the schedule, if you wanted to look at the actual fixtures, like I say, last time I was with you, this was the 4-0 win against Al Kariantath. This is really the key run, wasn't it, here, where we won something like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 9 games. That kind of set us up for the season. We lost to Al Shahriana twice this year away from home, 5-6 and 0-2. Beat them at home twice. This was a couple of late goals here, but they were tough opposition. They gave us 2 of our 3 defeats, and we lost to Al Shamal. It was a late defeat, but we'd sewn up the league by the time we kicked off here for the 0-0. So quite what you take from these last 4 matches, I'm not sure. Teams can down tools a little bit, can't they? But all in all, a very successful campaign. So let's have a look at the actual squad and see who performed really well. And Wanda Luis, this was a really, really good decision from me to re-sign him. To be honest with you, he, I thought long and hard about doing it, and 20 appearances, 8 goals, 15 assists, and he's been superb for me, no doubt about it. Diwara, the big target man, come up with 14 goals. I feel like he could have had more at times, but you'll certainly take that. Really good ratings from the 2 fullbacks on attack duty. Sebastian Antic and Mufak were mostly in that spot, and Zahir, when he played at left back. So it's really encouraging to see that the fullback ratings might be sorted out a little bit like in FM. But fundamentally, on that attack duty, they've done really, really well. Lloyd Jones, who came in, scored a few goals from corners, 3 goals. He actually had 3 assists as well. He averaged 7.28, real rock at the back for us. And Juan Jose Torres, another centre back, averaged 7.14. As I say, for the most part, we were really solid. Them 2 at the back, Jones and Torres. The back 4 all averaging over 7.1, I think. So well done to them. Cian Flanagan performed really well as a Mazzala, and Angarita as a boring midfielder defence averaged 7. Perhaps the flops of the year, the biggest flop of the year, probably Julian Michel. You'd expect more output out of this guy. We'll talk a bit more about why in a minute. He's operated as a DLP support, a deep line playmaker support. For some reason it hasn't really worked out. The rest are kind of bit part players. We kind of rotated a bit at attacking midfield, but Mesaimeer as a shadow striker averaged just below 7. But so you could say he didn't have his greatest year, but maybe we didn't really expect an awful lot from him. Like I say, this whole team really performed well. The back 4 was good. The keeper averaged well. He was a good signing. It was mostly Angarita at D mid, and it was mostly, this is what we mostly went with. Mufak ended up starting a lot of games, and that was, so this back 4 was rock solid. Flanagan's Mazzala averaged really well, must say. I was dead impressed with him. Angarita is a ball in midfield defence. Often this is a criminally underrated position in FM in terms of overall ratings. For him to average over 7 was good. Why this DLP didn't work, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure it out, because you would expect Julian Michel, with his quality, to be at very minimum a 7 rating. We only got 1 assist from him. Now, I just don't understand it at all. Why we only got 1 assist from Julian Michel this season, 1 goal as well. He's good enough for that. Why did the deep line playmaker role not work in this formation? It's the only one really. Every other role worked well. Shadow striker, you could say, was a tad under par, but even then it was 6.99, and Mesaimeer was probably the least talented player out of this 11, or certainly the outfield players anyway. But we got good connections here. For some reason the DLP didn't work. Now, it might be because we're doing short passing, and perhaps a deep line playmaker with short passing it doesn't enable him to give you the range of passing. He takes out the long ball and things like that, and it might be the main reason. I think we maybe needed something a little bit different for that role. So that's something to consider. Let's have a look at the actual league stats themselves then, because there's some interesting stuff. Remember, the whole idea of this tactic of keeping it very, very, for those who've not actually seen yet, stay on feet, no pressing, and lower lines of engagement, basically to try and avoid fouls and yellow cards and things like that. Did we manage to do it? Of course we did. The big thing from this year, fouls made, Albida led that with 333. We only had 133 fouls, the lowest in the league, and we only had 5 yellow cards. I can tell you 4 of those cards were to Angarita, the ball-winning midfielder on defend duty. So we only had 2 players actually given cards all year. The other one was the right back, Mufak. So those tactics work well in terms of what the ambition was. We just didn't want suspension, we didn't want to give away fouls. I couldn't have envisioned only 5 yellow cards, but I was thinking if we could limit it to 10 to 15, that would be a great accomplishment. We didn't want many players suspended, and that worked fantastically well. And a few other things came up from using that sort of system, as we're going to come through in a minute. But let's go through the main overall stats. Possession wise, we had 46% of the ball. We were trying to keep it short, but because we're not harassing opposition, I get why we didn't maybe win it back much, but we did keep the ball well, as we'll soon see. Headers won, we were one of the lowest, but headers won ratio right up there, 57%. Dead impressed with that sort of thing. In terms of attacking, we scored 50 goals, which is the most. Expected goals for was 40.39, so we scored 10 more than we should have in that regard. We did score a couple of cracking long-range goals and stuff like that. We had the most penalties. Took 8, scored 6. One of them was missed and we got the rebound. 30% cross completion rate, which is fantastic. That comes from the fullbacks. They had a really good year. Crosses completed, we had the most as well. Goals from corners, 12. We absolutely bossed it from set pieces, and we must have got about 6-7 goals from long throws as well, I think. Free kicks, we weren't particularly up there. Pass completion ratio 91%. When we had the ball, we tended to do pretty well with it. We didn't lose it, and that's what I'm really pleased with. Clear-cut chances created, 27, the most of anyone. Shots for, we had the most of anyone. Shots on target, we had the most of anyone. 41% in terms of shots on target ratio. It was a bit of a scattergun approach in terms of that, I suppose, but we really dominated in terms of that. Averaged 21.75 shots per game, which is huge. We generated 234 fouls against us. I was really pleased. These stats show how good we were on the ball, and we actually led dribbling as well, which surprises me. That one didn't. I didn't expect that. Expected goals against, we were the best, 16.41 expected goals against. Although we didn't have the best defensive record. Al Shamal beat us by 3 goals in terms of that. Things that stood out to me was actually interceptions, 325 interceptions, and that is probably a result of just staying on your feet and waiting for the opposition to kind of make up a cock up with the pass, rather than pressing and harassing and tackling and stuff like that. But interceptions, we kind of were waiting there for the chance, and we took it. So that's a really that one intrigued me. I must admit, we had the least shots against significantly in the league, and the least on target against us significantly. And that's what happens, when you you kind of sit back a bit, really make it hard for them to break you down at times. I think it was a system that worked really well. Average attendance Al Shamal much higher in terms of that. And as we go down to the salary per annum, we did have the second biggest wage budget, well, joint second, let's say, along with Al Shamal. Al Kariantaf had a good million plus more than us, but I think we did really well with the wage budget we had. We dominate the league, so that's where we are at. We finished the league campaign. We've got now the Emir of Qatar Cup first round. So we're facing Al Shaniaha. So we're not. We're facing Al Bidder, who finished bottom of our league. We should really win that match. The board want us to reach the quarter-final, which I'm not sure how far the quarter-final is away, to be honest. Let's have a look at the schedule. March. Quarter-final. First round draw there. We go into April. So we've got first round, second round, then quarter-final. So I don't know quite why we're in this first round. I'm surprised we didn't go straight into the second round, to be honest with you. But we expected to win this match against Al Bidder. Then we'll go into the next phase in that. In terms of my managerial career, I think I don't want to stay here any longer, but it's in my advantage to keep learning Arabic, which it's a tough language to learn in real life and in the game, seemingly, because we have only basic Arabic. We've been here over a year now, and we just still only basic Arabic, not good. So I would like at least to get Arabic to good level, because it would help us out with some of the jobs in this region, Egypt as well. And we're also learning a coaching course that we're now studying for National B. And I think we're going to get that completed in July. It'd be nice to certainly start studying for the National A licence. The finances are good here. The board are very happy with me. So it would probably be in my advantage to stay here until probably the start of the season, and we'll see how it goes there. But I just don't really have the appetite to keep going in Qatar, because I think I mentioned it before. This Stars League at the top. It's a different league. You only play each other twice, so it'd be a little bit more variable, at least in that regard. But I think it'd be really tough to come up here. We do know the wage budget has gone up, will be going up to 150k a week. So the minute we're spending 104k per week, so it's going up by another. The board are certainly backing me in that regard. So the problem is we're up against a lot of big finances here. If we look at the salaries per annum, I mean, the minute we're at something like 4.67 million, we'll move up to about 8 million next year, roughly around this mark. So we'll be competitive against quite a few of these sides, but against these top dogs, I mean, we're not in that league. Al Dahel, let's have a look at who they've got, for example. There's guys on £115,000, like Dudu here, and Mehdi Benasha. We're up against some bloody big sort of talents. So I don't have the appetite to keep going, but it would be in my advantage to stay at the club certainly until the start of the year, keep going with the coaching courses, and then see where we go. But what I am going to do is before I leave this club, we're going to do the cup. Hopefully we win this match. If we don't win it, then that's tough, isn't it? Albeit a terrible side. They've lost. If we don't win that, we won shooting. But I will do the next round of the cup on a video, just to round off my time here in Qatar. For now, I could see myself being back one day. Maybe I'll look for a job at a bigger club in Qatar. Let's see. But yeah, that was a good tactical overview of the season. And the general consensus from me is this Christmas tree formation worked extremely well, surprisingly well. You don't have to press necessarily. I mean, obviously we had fairly good players here, but we weren't like miles above anyone else. But it was good to see sort of a different style and different tactic work quite well. I've enjoyed seeing that happen, and you don't have to press constantly all day. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this particular video, just sort of reviewing the season, and maybe give you a few ideas about certain player roles, certain formations and stuff, what can actually work. So going to be back for hopefully one more video, at least one more video in the Qatar Cup, and then we'll see where this Journeyman takes us. But thanks very much again for watching. If you liked it, then hit the like button. If you didn't, then dislike, whatever. Leave some comments, good or bad. I'm always after any feedback. Follow me on the socials, follow me on Twitch, and as I say, look out for the next YouTube video again very soon. I'll see you around.